Okay, we're going to look at percent proportion and move it into percent equation. Let's go over basics real quick. So if I have these 10 smiley faces, that means that each of these would be 10%. In order to make 100% of the smiley faces. So if I need to find 20%, then that means that that would be 2 smiley faces. Okay, we just found 20% of 10. Now, if we are looking at the percent proportion, like how to set it up, and that's more of what we did in 6th grade, remember that we would have part over whole equals our percent over 100. So for this particular problem, remember I had a total of 10 smiley faces, so 10 would be on the bottom. X would be on the top, that's what was missing. And then 20% would be 20 over 100. So then I would use a cross product. So 10 times 20 would be 200, and 100 times x would be 100x. From there, I would divide by 100 on both sides of the equation, and I would get that x equals 2, which we already knew from the smiley face. Now, I want you to move past the proportion and get into the equation. So the equation really is the proportion, it's just written in a different way. So we will have the part equals the percent times whole. And what you need to remember is that the percent will already be converted to a decimal. Like you'll do that first and then multiply by the whole. So same steps as a proportion, it's just we are dividing by 100 first and then we multiply by the whole. So if I am still finding 20% of 10, again, we don't know what the part is. The 20% as a decimal would be 0.2 times the total or the whole amount, which was 10. And 0.2 times 10 gives me 2. Okay, so let's look at the next one and let's use the percent equation. So again, part, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So that's x. 40% would be 0.4 as a decimal, and then times 60. Well, 0.4 times 60 would be 24. Okay, let's do these two. So we have 25% of 80. Again, let's stick with the equation. So I don't know the part, and let me write this up here, just so you can look at it as needed. So I don't know the part. I don't know what 25% of 80 is. That's where my x goes. And then 25% as a decimal times 80. 25% of 80 is going to be 20. What is 90% of 64? So again, I don't know the part. I have 90% of 64. 0.9 times 64 would be 57.6. Okay, let's look at a few questions where it is not just what is the part and you have the percent and the whole amount. So this one gives me the part, 15 is 20% of what number? So this time I have 15 equals 20% as a decimal, and then I don't know what number that would be. I don't know what 20% of this number is. So I'm going to set it up like this, and then I would divide by 0.2. And I get x equals 75. So that means 25% of 75 is 15. Okay, next one, same thing. I'm going to have 49 equals 70% of x. Divide by 0.7 on both sides, and I would get x equals 70. Okay, for these two, I am missing the percent. So I have the part, I have the total or the whole amount. I need to figure out what percent. This would be like taking a test or a quiz or some sort of assignment. So if there is a 50 question test and you only get 8 correct, what grade would you get? So you don't have to wait for your teacher to tell you or put it in the grade book. You could calculate this yourself. So 8 equals, I don't know what percent, so I'm just going to let that be represented with x. And then we have that it's of 50, or there's 50 questions. Divide by 50, and I get x equals 0.16. Now, that is not my percent. That's like in decimal form. I got to get it to my percent, okay? Because remember, like if they give me the percent, I've always divided it by 100. So since I'm working backwards, I don't have the percent, then I need to multiply this answer by 100, and I would have that it would be a 16%. So that would not be a good test score. Same thing for the next one. So I have 12 equals 60x. So I divide by 60. 12 divided by 60 would give you 0.2. And so multiply by 100 or move the decimal 2 spaces, and that gives you 20%.